Right. Let's get started, guys, without any further ado. Now, before we do, a quick formal introduction on my end. My name is Mohammed Shoaib. I'm a cybersecurity trainer certified from EC Council. EC Council is the organization which is providing this course for us. Okay, it's a US-based organization which provides all the certification courses on cybersecurity. And the demo that we are taking up today is the course for the course Certified Ethical Hacking version 12. This is the latest version of the course running right now. And again, as I've mentioned, this is for people who are getting started in cybersecurity. Now, in the name of the course, you can see there's a term called ethical hacking. What is hacking and what is ethical hacking? Let's talk about that. Because a lot of students have a misconception that hacking and ethical hacking are one and the same thing. Okay, but they're two, again, they're poles apart. Let me define each of those terms first. So when you talk about hacking, guys, it is the procedure of trying to gain access to information systems. Now, what I mean by that word or that phrase, gaining access to information systems, is that you try to get access to, again, information devices which are, again, out of your reach. So basically, if I'm a hacker and when I say I'm gaining access to your information system, I'm getting access to your mobile phone or to your server or to your web application database. Okay, and all of this is done without your consent, without your permission. So it is not in my control, it is not in my reach initially, but due to some weakness on that system, I could get remote access to it. I can control your device now. So if I've hacked your phone, it means I can remotely access the data on your phone. I can delete the data on your phone, or I can sell that data to other people as well. Okay. So that is what is meant by gaining access. I have complete access or complete control over your phone, which I didn't have earlier. Okay. Now, this is done. One important point to note: this is done without your permission. So you have no clue, and I'm not even going to take permission from you to perform all this. Okay. So this is usually performed for the hacker's benefit. So once they get access to your device, they can do whatever they want to with your data, with your personal data. Okay. And sometimes hackers are so mischievous, they can even do it just for fun. Okay. Now, and since it is that kind of a procedure, since this is that kind of a process, it is illegal to perform hacking. Okay. But then we have a procedure called ethical hacking, where ethical is something which is legal. Now, how can hacking get legal in the first place? So when we have to define ethical hacking, on the other hand, it is the procedure of trying to find the vulnerabilities, okay, on your information systems. Now, if you remember, I've told you hacking is a procedure where I'm trying to get access to your data, to your device. Earlier, I did not have this access, but due to some weakness on your system, I got access later. So in ethical hacking, our job is to find what that weakness is through which hackers are getting access to your device. So we try to find those weaknesses which are called as vulnerabilities. Okay, so we ethical hackers find these vulnerabilities or weaknesses in the information systems of people or organizations with their consent, with their permission, and with their consent. We find the weaknesses in the security of the organization. And once these vulnerabilities are found, we report it back to the company. We tell them this is the flaw in your security through which hackers might get access to your data, and it is necessary that you remediate this flaw or patch this flaw. Okay. And once the company gets to know, they're going to apply the security updates for it. And with that, they close the doorway for the hacker to break into their system. So with ethical hacking, we're trying to protect the systems of the organization or individuals by finding the vulnerabilities or the weaknesses first and reporting it back. Again, guys, please let me know if the audio is not clear or if the video is not fine, or if there's any issues with any words that you don't understand. Okay, so again, let's keep this a two-way session. Please do interact. If you don't understand a certain term, please use the chat box or your voice as well, voice chat as well, to let me know. Okay, so any questions or doubts up to this part, hacking or ethical hacking? What is hacking? What is ethical hacking? And what is the difference between that? In hacking, as I've mentioned, hackers try to get access to your data, to your devices without your permission. This is performed for their own benefit. In ethical hacking, you find the weaknesses through which hackers are finding this access to your devices, and you try to report those weaknesses to the company. Okay, and once it is reported back, those vulnerabilities are fixed, they are patched, okay, and thereby you're increasing the security. Okay. Yeah, Kiran, you're saying something. Your mic was unmuted. Any questions? Okay, assuming there are no questions, guys, let's proceed further. Now, depending on these definitions of what is hacking and what is ethical hacking, we can categorize the types of hackers. Okay, so there's someone known as a black hat hacker, there's someone known as a gray hat hacker, and there's someone known as a white hat hacker. Okay, black hat hackers are also called as your cyber criminals who perform hacking for their own benefit without asking for permission. On the other end of the spectrum, we have someone known as white hat hackers. White hat hackers are also called as your ethical hackers who find the weaknesses and report to the companies. They do this to increase the security of the organization and prevent them from getting hacked. And in between, there's a third category, a mysterious category called gray hat hackers. They are a mixture of the black hat and white hat properties. Like a black hat hacker, they don't ask for permission first, but once they find a vulnerability in a certain system, they report it back to the organization. But there's a minor catch here, there's a minor condition. They don't do this for free. They do it in return for something called as a bounty. A bounty is something, a reward actually given to the hacker for finding the vulnerability and reporting it back. It could be a financial reward, it could be a reputational reward, anything which benefits the hacker. Okay, so gray hat hackers do this in return for a reward. So again, the organization gives the reward to them for giving the vulnerability or reporting it back without taking advantage of it. The only thing is they don't ask permission first, okay, but they work for the betterment for the organization. Now, all these three types of hackers, whether you take black hat hackers, gray hat hackers, or white hat hackers, they perform hacking or ethical hacking in a certain procedure. And that procedure is called as hacking cycle or cyber kill chain. Okay. So when you work for an organization as well, the first question they ask you is, define your hacking cycle. What is the procedure that you follow to perform ethical hacking for our company? Okay. And EC Council, the organization which gave us this course, has defined a very perfect hacking cycle, which consists of 5 important steps. The first step is called as information gathering. It can also be referred to as reconnaissance or footprinting. Second step is called as scanning. It can also be called as enumeration. Third step is gaining access. Fourth step is maintaining access. And the last step is reporting or clearing traces. Now, these terms might seem very technical and very new to you guys. Don't worry, I'm going to explain about each of these steps now one by one, because this is these are all the 5 steps around which our whole course is going to revolve. Okay, so the whole course is based on these 5 steps itself. So it's very important that you understand all of these steps. I'm going to explain about each one of them in a minute now. But before that, any questions or doubts, guys? Kiran, yeah, Ram, you mentioned something in the chat. Class, what do you mean by class? I didn't get you.
It is mistakenly happened, sir.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Any questions or doubts up to this point, guys? Okay, assuming there are no questions, let's proceed further. Now let's talk about the first step, which is information gathering. What do I mean by that? Okay, so from the name itself, you can figure out this is the step where the hacker or the ethical hacker needs to gather information about the target organization. Before we hack or perform ethical hacking for an organization, we need to do some research about the organization. We need to get some information about the organization. Now, if I have to explain this with an example, let's take the example of a bank robbery. Okay, so if I were a thief, if I were a bank robber, the first thing that I need to do to rob a bank is I need to research about the bank. So what I do is I observe the bank from the outside. So where is the bank located? Okay, what time does the bank open? What time does the bank close? How many security guards are there outside the bank? Okay, where are the security cameras installed outside the bank? Okay, how many employees are going in? How many customers are going in and coming out every hour? Okay, on an average. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to observe the bank from outside closely. Okay, but again, in this important step, you have to remember that the bank does not know that I'm gathering this information. All this information that I'm trying to gather about the bank is being gathered passively in the sense, without the bank knowing or without the bank observing, I'm trying to get information about them. That's the same thing that we perform in cybersecurity as well, in the step information gathering. So whatever company is there or whatever client is there, we need to retrieve information about that organization, about the company. Okay, and this needs to be done without the company or without the organization knowing about it. Now, your question might be, for this bank thing, I've given a good example. These are the information to gather. Okay. But what about the company? What information do you need to gather for a client to perform hacking? And that information is listed out here. So when we want to perform hacking or ethical hacking for a company. These are all the pieces of information that we need to figure out for the company. First, we need to get the IP addresses or the range of IP addresses used by the company's website. Now, IP address, guys, is an identity given to each server on the internet. It's a numerical address. So we need to find the addresses for the company. Then there's something called as whois records. This tells you who's hosting the website for them. When was their website first hosted? When will their website expire? All that information is present in the whois records. Then you get the DNS records. Every organization has a DNS server which contains information on the domains and the subdomains of the server, okay, of the website. So how many websites do they have and what are the IP addresses linked with those websites? All that is obtained from DNS records. Then you get the employee details. So this is the contact numbers of the employees, the email addresses of the employees, their usernames and passwords, which got leaked on the internet. All that falls under employee details. And then you need to find the operating system information. What operating system are they using for their servers? Are they using Microsoft operating systems? Are they using Linux operating systems? What OS are they using for their servers? Now, believe it or not, all this information can be gathered from the internet. So as I've mentioned, you do not contact the organization in any way. All this information is obtained from some special websites on the internet. Okay, so and these websites are not linked with the organization in any way. So if I have to show you an example for this, I can show a website called DNS Dumpster. This is a very commonly known website in the cybersecurity circle. So if you click on dnsdumpster.com, the first link shown here, this is a website to give you the DNS records for any company. Okay, so if I search for our organization, let's say netflix.com. Okay, if I click on search, now this provides the records for the DNS servers of Netflix. What I mean by that is it first tells me where the Netflix servers are located. Their geolocation seems to be in America, in Northern America. And these are the 4 DNS servers for Netflix. So these are the exact names for the DNS servers. And these are the IP addresses for the servers. Now, these IP addresses, guys, are very crucial for a hacker or an ethical hacker, because on these IPs only he performs the upcoming attacks. So right now, this website tells me for Netflix, there are 4 DNS servers, 1 primary DNS server and 3 secondary or backup DNS servers. Okay, and the remaining information shown in this website is the information that is stored in these DNS servers. Okay, so these are the MX records. MX records in the sense, if any company has a mail server, if it requires to send mails or receive mails from its company's clients, these are the servers through which all the mails are routed. Okay, so Netflix right now has 5 mail servers, all of them from Google, and these are the IPs, the addresses for the server through which all the mails for Netflix clients or customers travel through. Okay, so these IPs again are very crucial for a hacker to hack their mail servers. Scroll down much further. These are the domains and subdomains of Netflix, the main website and the other necessary websites linked with netflix.com and their IP addresses. So these IPs are very crucial, guys, for a hacker to perform the upcoming attacks. Scroll down much further. This is the complete information on Netflix organization. And here we have a picture, a network topology picture telling how Netflix servers are connected to one another and what are their exact IP addresses for each server. Okay, so this can be performed for any website, guys. I've taken the example of Netflix here. You can also give your own company's email, so company's domain if you want to. Okay, let's try for an Indian website. Let's say we try for wipro.com. If I search for Wipro, this is the information for Wipro. The Wipro's DNS servers, Wipro's mail server. Wipro only has 1 mail server from Outlook. This is the IP for that. And these are all the domains and subdomains of Wipro. The main domain, wipro.com, and the other important websites linked with Wipro. Okay. And if you keep scrolling down, this is the network topology for Wipro's organization. So this is one piece of that information, guys. This is what we are getting for DNS records. Similarly, there are other important websites from where we can get the rest of the other pieces of information as well. Okay, so there are some gold mines of these information on internet, so these special websites from where we gather this information. Okay, once this information is gathered, then you go into the next phase, which is scanning. Okay, if we take the example of the bank robbery again. Okay, now the robber cannot get complete information about the bank from outside itself. He needs to enter the bank and see what other security measures are there inside the bank. So how many security guards are there inside? How many web cameras are there inside the bank? Where is the vault located inside the bank? The main locker or the vault located? What is the architecture of the bank from inside? Okay. How many floors are there inside the bank? So in order to understand all this, I need to enter the bank at least once. Okay. And that is the extra part. Okay. That is called as scanning. Scanning is the phase where you try to get some extra information, more information by making active connections. Active in the sense you enter the organization, and internally from the internal organization you try to get extra data. So just like how we are entering the bank, our information is given to the bank. So the bank cameras might capture us, but it is a crucial phase for us. We need to understand how the bank is created, how the bank is designed internally. Okay, so we need to get information about the internal organization, and that is what is scanning about. Okay, in order to understand scanning in a much better way for hacking purpose, it can be divided into three parts. There's something called as network scanning, port scanning, and then vulnerability scan. First, you perform network scanning to figure out internally in an organization how many devices are there. So how many servers are they using? How many client operating systems are they using? How many routers are they using? How many firewalls are they using? Are they using any other security devices, intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems? So we try to get a network map of their internal organization. So what is the organization looking like from inside their network? Once you get the access to their data, once you get access to all the list of devices, then you perform port scanning, trying to figure out on each of those devices that are there in the organization, what all ports and services are they running on? So what applications are they using? What services are they running? Or what programs are they running on these devices? And once you know what applications they are running, then you finally run vulnerability scanning. You try to understand on those devices, on those services, are there any weak services? Are there any loopholes that you can attack on? So during this phase, we'll be using two very important tools called Nmap. This is one of the most important tools that is used in organizations. This is for network scanning and port scanning. And there's one more tool called Tenable Nessus. This is the tool used for vulnerability scanning. So if you scroll down, you can click on this website. This is the official website for this tool. And this tool is very expensive, guys. So if you click on buy, you can notice it is around $6,000 for 1 year subscription. Okay. $6,000 is roughly around 5 lakh rupees or something, I guess. Yeah, 5,12,000 rupees. And that is only for 1 year for the tool. Okay. Now you might ask me a question, why is this tool so expensive? Again, this tool deserves that price because it is capable of scanning each and every system in your network and tell you automatically which system contains what weakness and how hackers can attack it. Okay. I have this tool installed on my system. Let me show you what this looks like. So this tool runs on my system on port 834 by default. Don't worry what it means. I'll explain that in the classes. But just to show you what the tool looks like, this is what you use in a real-time scenario in an organization. This is the same tool that is run. As you can see, it can perform network scanning and vulnerability scanning, web application scanning, malware scan, and so on and so. So these are the various scans that you run in an organization to figure out in that organization which system contains a weakness to attack on. And once you perform a scan, so in my network, I scan 3 systems, and you can notice for each system, it shows the vulnerabilities here. And there are 5 levels of weaknesses: information-based, low, medium, high, and critical. In a real-time scenario, no organization should ever have critical, high, or medium vulnerabilities. If there are any critical vulnerabilities or any present on the system, it means that hackers can easily attack the systems and get remote connection to their devices. Okay, so it tells you what the weakness is, what the solution for removing that weakness is, and what actions can the hacker perform on it. Okay, what again impact does the attacker create on the servers? Okay, so this is a tool which is capable of understanding in your network which system contains what weaknesses. It lists out and creates a report as well. Okay, and on this report only we perform the next phase, which is gaining access. So once you get the list of information on how to attack, the next phase is attacking and verifying itself, trying to perform gaining access to the systems remotely and verifying the report. Okay, so this is the main module, guys. So once we have gathered all the information from the first 2 phases, next part is to attack. The attacking phase is called gaining access. Okay, So before we go into this, any questions or doubts up to this point? Ram, Kiran, Akshara, Ravi, Shiva. Again, someone asked me about the tools that we use, which if they are real time or not, guys. Can't remember who that was. But again, just give you an example. These are the same tools that I use in organizations, guys. And we're going to be working on the same examples, which are real time, guys. Yeah, I think here you go ahead.
हाँ सर, वो NSS के लिए सिर्फ उसके अलावा और दूसरा टूल्स नहीं है सर स्कैनिंग करने के लिए?
There's so
वो
many
बहुत
tools actually.
एक्सपेंसिव है ना, so
No, don't worry about it. We don't have to purchase any of these tools. Whatever tools I'm showing, you can work on them on your system as well. You don't have to purchase them. Luckily, this tool has a trial version as well. So what I'm running in my system is a trial version. Okay. But when you go with an organization, the organization needs to purchase these tools. Again, all of these tools, all the vulnerability scanners are quite similar in the same price range. You cannot get a cheaper tool or so. Okay. There are open source tools, there are free tools also, but they might not be working as professionally or as perfectly as these tools, these paid tools. And a company would always go with a professional tool itself. Okay. But just if you want to know alternatives, there's tools like Nexpose. This is one more tool. It's also a vulnerability scanning tool, as you can see. Okay, you can download it from this website. There's one tool called Qualys. Okay, this is an IT security scanning tool. So there's alternatives, but all of them are on the same price segment. There's no difference in the price segment much. Okay, right. Coming back, again, guys, don't worry. None of these tools which I'm going to show you, you have to pay for them. There's no such scenario. Whatever tools I'm showing, I'll show you how to install them on your systems for free. The only thing that you'll be paying is for the course. Okay, other than the course price, you're not going to be paying for any other tool. I'm going to explain you how to run these tools on your systems for free. Don't worry about it. Okay. Now, coming to the next module, we have something called gaining access. Oh yeah, Ram, you raised your hand.
हाँ सर, आपको कुछ प्रैक्टिकल भी होगा ना सर क्लास के थ्रू, यानी प्रैक्टिकल रिलेटेड ले आप?
Yeah.
Only theoretical classes are there or practical?
Definitely not. How will I teach you all these concepts theoretically without showing you these tools and how to run them practically? This whole course is focused practically itself. Only our demo today is just a bit theoretical because I need to show you what we learn in the course. But all the other classes that we learn throughout the course, it's in a 20-40 ratio. Every day you'll have a class for 1 hour, but the first 15 minutes we'll talk about the theoretical aspect of the topic, and the remaining 35 to 40 minutes we talk about the practical aspect of it. All the tools I'm showing you are very practical based tools. I can't teach you the course if I just stick to theory of it. Okay, so throughout the course, every topic we learn will have a practical tool in, and I'm going to show you how do you practically use it in an organization. How do you perform that certain operation with that tool? Okay, we have a practical lab setup. Okay. I'll show you how to install that lab setup as well, so that you can practice whenever you want, 24/7.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. Now coming to the next module, guys, this is the most important module in the course, actually the core of the subject, which is gaining access. And it covers a vast variety of topics. So let me list them out. So first topic you'll learn is system hacking. How do you crack or bypass a Windows operating system password? So if you have Windows 11 or Windows 10, Windows 7, doesn't matter what version of the Windows operating system, I'll show you how hackers can crack your passwords, or how do they bypass your passwords to get access to internal data. So if your system is logged, how do hackers bypass the lock on your system is what we learn in system hacking. Then comes malware attacks. Malwares are nothing but malicious softwares, and there's tons and tons of malwares. There's viruses, worms, rootkit, Trojan, whatnot. We'll practically learn how do hackers create these malwares, how do you detect these malwares on your system, and how do you defend your system from malwares. Then there's network penetration testing, where we learn what are the common attacks in a local network. Okay, there's attacks like sniffing attack, MIT man in the middle attack, DOS attacks, denial of service attacks, or hacking Wi-Fi routers. Okay, all these are your attacks that can happen in a local network. So using these attacks, hackers can try to capture your usernames and passwords. So if I type something on my system, if I enter username and password on my system, if there's a hacker in my network, he can actually capture that data. So how does he do that? What tools does he use for that? We learn all that in sniffing and MIT. Then there's denial of service attacks, where I teach you how hackers shut down servers. How do they send How do they overload servers with traffic, and how do they shut down servers? That is called as DOS attack. And then there's hacking wireless networks, where I'll show you how hackers crack Wi-Fi passwords. How do they crack the passwords of other Wi-Fi routers, okay, and get access to others' networks. Then there's social engineering, where we learn how do hackers perform phishing attacks. Phishing in the sense, how do hackers create fake websites, fake login pages, whether they be social media pages or whether they be bank login websites, anything, doesn't matter what web page they are, okay, but they will be able to create fake login pages. And if the victims again get fooled, if they enter their credentials in those pages, hackers get their data, hackers get the usernames and passwords. So I show you how do hackers perform these attacks, and how do you distinguish, how do you prevent these attacks, how do you distinguish between a fake page and an original page, what are the steps to take before logging it into any website to prevent yourself from getting attacked. Okay. Then comes web application attacks, where we learn how do hackers perform malicious attacks on websites. Okay. So there's attacks like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, broken authentication, file upload vulnerability. Don't get confused by these technical terms, guys. Okay. Each of these is a certain kind of an attack, actually. Okay. How do hackers inject database queries and perform access to databases? How do they inject JavaScript code in websites and perform phishing attacks? Or how do they log in as other users without knowing their passwords? Okay, that is called broken authentication. Okay. And how do hackers upload malicious files to a server and get access to the complete remote server? That is called file upload vulnerability. So the first attack, SQL injection, is where attackers can upload malicious queries, inject malicious queries to databases, and get access to the complete database. That is SQL injection. Second, cross-site scripting is where hackers can inject JavaScript code. Okay, JavaScript is one of the programming languages for websites. Okay, so I'll show you how hackers can inject malicious scripts and perform phishing attacks as well on websites. Okay, and then how can hackers bypass passwords? Okay, without knowing your username or without knowing your password, how can I log into your account? Okay, with using cookies. So we'll learn that in broken authentication. So similarly, there's tons and tons of attacks on websites. We'll focus on the most important ones. And then comes vulnerability assessment, one of the most important concepts. Okay, so this vulnerability assessment process is where you verify a vulnerability. So once you have a report like this, once you get a report like this from a tool like Nessus, you need to know how to attack on this vulnerability. So if you scroll down, you can see there's a tool saying Metasploit. Okay, so there's this tool called Metasploit, which is capable of attacking on the vulnerabilities shown in the Nessus tool. So I'll show you how do you attack on this vulnerability and verify if this report is true or false, because sometimes tools can give you wrong results also. So we have to verify the report. So that is called as vulnerability assessment. Then comes mobile phone hacking, where I'll show you how to hack or attack any Android phone. How do you send malwares to Android phones and get remote connection to Android? So if you notice over here, we are covering each and every endpoint. We are talking about system security. We're talking about network security. We're talking about wireless security. We are talking about web security. And we're also talking about mobile security. Whatever devices could exist in the network, we're talking about the security of each and every device here. And then after this most important module is covered, there are two small modules left out, which are maintaining access and reporting or clearing traces. These two topics won't even take more than 1 or 2 days to cover, guys. In maintaining access, I'll show you how do you maintain persistent connections. Persistent connections in the sense, if the user restarts the system or shuts it down and starts after a very long time, how do you still maintain connectivity with him? That is important to know, okay? Because we shouldn't lose the connection to the victim if he restarts his device. So that is the main process of maintaining access. And then finally, I'll show you how do you report the vulnerabilities to the organization or remove the evidences. So the first step, reporting, is the white hat hacker's job. Second step, clearing access, is a black hat hacker. So he removes all the evidences or deletes the log files. That is called as clearing traces. To stay anonymous, to not get caught, he removes all the evidences. That is second part. So the whole course, guys, is going to go in 2 tracks simultaneously. We'll learn the attacks like a black hat hacker, and we'll also learn the defense as well, like a white hat hacker. How do you defend your system from these attacks? Okay. Again, guys, the whole course is practically implemented. There is no theoretical nonsense. Okay. Whatever topics I'm teaching you, whatever topics I've mentioned in the gaining access module or any module, has a lot of tools that we use, and these tools are practically implemented. So in order to perform your practicals, guys, we need a lab setup as well. So I'm going to show you how to create your lab setup first. How do we install this application called VMware? So if you notice on my desktop here, this is application called VMware. Okay, so this is a virtualization software. I'll show you how to install this application, and inside this application we're going to run an operating system called Kali Linux, KALI.org. This is the official website from where you can download Kali. This is a Linux operating system, guys. This operating system is very important for our practicals because this comes pre-installed with all the penetration testing tools, all the software is required. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to install this operating system and have it ready on your devices to perform all the practicals. So if I log into my system here, just to show you, this is what my operating system looks like. And it has all the tools required for information gathering, for web application attack, for database attacks, for password attack, for Wi-Fi attacks. All the tools are available here. These tools are not available for you in Windows, guys. They are only available in the Kali Linux. So I'm going to show you how to install this lab setup and have a practical approach to the course. Okay. Again, as I've mentioned, since not everyone might be from a technical background, we also have a few prerequisites to cover. So before we dive into the advanced concepts, we'll first talk about virtualization, how to install the lab setup. Then we'll talk about networking basics. What are IP addresses? What are IPv4 addresses? What is DHCP protocol? What is DNS protocol? We'll cover all those fundamentals in networking class. Then we'll learn about Linux commands and Windows commands. And after these commands and these classes are done, these prerequisite classes are done, only then we'll jump into the advanced classes or advanced topics. Okay. So the whole course, guys, is divided in a, as I've mentioned, a 40-20 ratio, 20 minutes theoretical, 40 minutes practical. Okay. And it's going to take around 1 month to 45 days, guys, to complete the whole course. On a rough average, it takes around 35 to 40 days. But here and there, if there's any absence or so, the classes might get delayed, maximum up to 45 days, not more than that. Okay. Minimum to minimum, it's going to take at least 30 days to complete. Okay. So again, we have classes from Monday to Friday every day for 1 hour each. Today is a demo session, guys. Tomorrow also we'll have one more demo session for people who might have missed out the demo today. I'm going to take one last demo tomorrow, and from day after tomorrow, from Wednesday, we'll start the first class on networking basics. So just in case, if you want to make a payment also, the course is priced at 8,000 rupees, guys. In that course price of 8,000 rupees, you get the live sessions, you get the recorded sessions, you get the notes for each class. You don't have to prepare any notes, guys. As I've mentioned, for each class, there's already a notes prepared. So if I go to class notes, you can see for each session, we already have a notepad file where I'll show you. Again, I'm going to explain from the same notes. Okay. And along with these notes, I'm also going to share a PDF document, official course material from the EC Council website. Okay. So all the notes, all the materials, all the recordings are already included in the course price. Okay. You'll be getting the notes every day. You'll be getting the recordings every day, along with the live sessions. Okay. Again, the class is going to be at the same time. It's going to be from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and we'll have the first class on Wednesday. Okay. Now, if you have any questions, please let me know. If not, you can join the class on Wednesday. The first class will be on Wednesday, guys. Okay. Yeah. Any questions, guys? Any queries? Any doubts? Dastagiri, Ram, Kiran, Ravi Prakash, Shiva Shankar, and Akshara. Yeah, Dastagiri, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you for the session. And how to pay the fee?
Your voice is too low. I can't hear you properly.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Hello. Dastagiri, you can use the chat box as well, I guess. Hi, Dastagiri. Yeah, I can. Yeah, you can use the chat box. Yeah, Ram, were you saying something? Oh, the payment has that information has been mentioned in the chat box, Dastagiri. If you notice, a few messages previous to our text from DURGASOFT, you can see the course. They have mentioned the course price. They have also mentioned the contact numbers for the organization. They have also mentioned the bank details, bank account number. Okay, and also their phone pay, Google Pay number, if you notice. So you can make the payment on their Google Pay number directly. I hope you have got that message. Disagree? Right. If not, you can also contact the organization once or DurgaSoft office once. They can also share other details. Right. Ram, there's a lot of background disturbance from your end. Yeah, disagree. Go ahead. You have raised a hand, disagree.
No, I'm trying to unmute it. Right, that's created.
Sorry, I can't hear you again. There's some issue with your mic, disagree. Your voice is too low. Ram, were you saying something? Okay. So I hope, yeah, that clarifies all the questions, guys. Again, if you want to make payment, please contact. Just in case if you have any other questions also regarding any of these technical concepts, or if you have any questions to ask privately to me regarding these concepts or any other topic, here's my number. Okay, you can contact me on this number to ask your queries regarding that. If there's any queries regarding the payment also, please contact the institute for that. Okay, DurgaSoft Institute. Again, guys, tomorrow also we're going to be having a demo session itself, and day after tomorrow we're going to have the first session. Please do join day after tomorrow's class without fail. Okay, bye bye. Have a good day. Thanks for joining the session today, guys, and thanks for interacting. Thanks for being present today. And yeah, hope to see you soon. Have a good day. Bye bye. Yeah, it's going to be the same link. That's the no change in the link. It's going to be the same. Bye.